Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches CHULLIN Daf Samach Vav. We begin 5 lines from the bottom of the Amud. So we got that far yesterday. Today begins a new sugya about fish. So Be'ezras Hashem will start right here and carry on through Amud Beis until Samach Zayin Amud Aleph. For the most part of the Amud Aleph, closer to the bottom, which is the end of this discussion. So it's sort of one big, continuous discussion regarding the kosher signs and the requirement to have kosher signs, when you do have to have it, when you don't have to have, these signs by fish and, sea creatures. Okay, says the Gemara, Badagim. So the Mishnah mentioned that the two signs of kashrus by a fish, kol sheyesh le snapper v'kaskeses. Snapper is the fin, kaskeses are the scales, and that constitutes a kosher fish. Tanu Rabbanan. Suppose ein lo achshav, you don't notice these signs on the actual fish today, but it's going to develop later on. This is very similar to what we had yesterday regarding the kosher signs that are going to grow on the develop on the grasshopper. We learned from a pasuk that it's okay because it's all about the type, the variety, the species. And even if it's not there yet, it's not present today, it's okay. The same with the fish. Tanu Rabbanan ein lo achshav. Suppose the fish does not exhibit signs of kashrus today. However, va'asad legadol achar zman. It's going to grow on him later on. Keep going. For instance, hasoltanis, which Rashi describes as a type of small fish. Balaz, tunina. Well, obviously it's not the big tuna fish, but of a similar name at least. Tunina. V'ha'afion, another type of fish, where the kosher signs will come on later. Here's a mutter. It's okay. So Tosfos asks, he says, back by the grasshoppers, we didn't just, conclude on our own. We had a pasuk to source this halacha. So where's the source from a pasuk to allow fish that have not yet developed their kosher signs? He says that if you look at the pasuk, it says the fish that doesn't have ein loy. And we find throughout Shas that ein loy means ayin alav, ayin, like investigate the matter. Coming to teach us that even if it doesn't yet have it, but if you investigate further, you will see that, this type of fish will eventually grow kosher signs. That is sufficient. Continues the Gemara. What about in the reverse? Yesh le achshav, the fish currently has the kosher signs, but they only last in the water. Va'asid lahashiran. However, it's going to shed the kosher signs when he leaves the water. Kigai, for instance, the Torah Talmud Beis, and there comes a long list of Persian fish names, as Rashi says, Loshin Parsihin, Kigai akunas. So this type of fish which loses its kosher signs when it's trapped, when it's taken out of the water. Va'afunas, kaspsias, Va'achs patias ve'atunas. Here's our tuna fish, atunas, which many mefarshim learn to mean tuna fish. So all these hareza mutter, akashi, even if they lose their signs on the way out. Tanan hasam. We have a Mishnah in Maseches Nida, which prevents a very simple formula to determine the status of a fish. Kol sheyesh le kaskeses. The fish has scales, then for sure, it confirms that it also has the fins, yesh le snapper, because you can't have scales without fins. Yesh le snapper, but you can have a fish with a fin, ve'ein le kaskeses, without scales, and therefore yesh le kaskeses, yesh le snapper. If it has the scales and it has the fin, right? So it's an automatic presumption. Yes, scales means yes, fin. Then for sure he's a dog tar. However, yeshli snapper, if he has a fin, kaskesas without the scales, then it's confirmed to be a dog tummy. Asks the Gemara, well, if scales by default mean fins as well, so why does the Torah have to bother mentioning both kosher signs? Michte, look, akas keses kosamchinen. In any case, we are relying simply on the kaskesas. That is sufficient indicator of kosher status. Okay, so lichtei brachmano kaskesas, v'lichtei snapper. So why doesn't the Torah simply state kaskesas as the sole kosher sign without writing snapper, which is going to be automatic anyways? The answer is, well, how would you know what is kaskesas and what is snapper? How would you know how to translate these terms? You might confuse them and say, well, kaskesas means a fin, and that's enough, right? Ikas brachmano kaskesas. Had the Torah only written the kaskesas for loikasav snapper without writing snapper, Havamina, I would think, my kaskesas, what is in fact kaskesas? Well, that's not a scale, that's a fin, snapper. And therefore, even a fish with just a fin would be okay. Vafilu, even a fish which is dog tameh. And therefore, kas rachmana, that's why the Torah spells out both. So you know one is one and one is the other. Kas rachmana snapper v'kaskesas. Now, ask the Gemara, fine. So now that we have both in the pasuk, we clearly know that kaskesas means scales. Look back at the Mishnah. Mishnah says kaskesas, the scales, right? And the snapper is what he uses to navigate and to travel through the water. So how do we know that today? Now the Torah did spell out snapper and kaskesas. How do we know the kaskesas? That this word denotes the scales, levushahu, like the armor, right? The layer of scales on the actual body of the fish. How do I know that it's a levushahu? Oh, we have a pasuk. We have a pasuk by Shmuel regarding Goliath, who was enclosed in this body armor. V'shurian kaskasim hulava. Shurian is an armor made of kaskasim. If you ever saw those the images of the old body armor, it was comprised of little sections, little like round, little scales, which together provided that protection. V'shurin kaskasim hulavash. Oh, from here we know that kaskasim, kaskesas, means a body cover, scales. So once you have that as a fact, back to the old question, there's no room for confusion and mixing the two things up. So then why does the Torah not simply say kaskesas, which we already know to mean the scales? And we know that naturally when you have kaskesas, you have snapper already, right? So it's just a natural succession, right? If so, v'lichtav rachmana kaskesas, v'lichtav snapper. So why doesn't the Torah just simply say kaskesas without saying snapper? And now we know that a fish with kaskesas, which automatically also has snapper, is kosher. Why does the Torah discuss both kosher signs as the Gemara? Just to elaborate and to expound and to give us more opportunity for discussion in this holy topic of Torah. Amar Ravo v'chein Rishmol Yagdil, to expand Torah v'yadir, to give us the opportunity to delve and to analyze and to discuss an even greater topic of Torah. Tana Rabbanon. Before we begin the next sugya, it would make sense to take a quick look at the psukim. In Parsha Shemini, we have the so-called positive pasuk. You should eat, right? Those that have kosher signs are kosher. Then we have the sort of negative pasuk. But if the fish do not exhibit kosher signs, they're off limits. So the first pasuk says like this. This is Vayikra, Perek Aleph pasuk tes. Es ze toichlu mikol asher ramayim. So the following may be eaten. Mikol asher ramayim, from all the water creatures. Now the word toichlu here seems to be extra because at the very end of this pasuk, it already says, it concludes with oisam toichelu. So toichlu here seems to be an extra expression, which we discuss later. In any case, anything in the water, anything with a snapper and kaskeses, b'mayim. Again, the word b'mayim. The Gemara later will dwell on the double b'mayim. B'mayim is a klal. The next b'mayim is another klal, general descriptive term that any creature in water requires these kosher signs. And then the pasuk goes into specifics. Bayamim, u'banacholim. Bayamim, the seas, the rivers, lakes, banacholim, streams. So any water creature found in the yamim, the nacholim, these are, naturally occurring, flowing bodies of water. In those bodies of water, fish creatures require snapper v'kaskeses to be edible. So first we have b'mayim, any type of water. Then the pasuk specifies bayamim, b'nacholim, those in the grand bodies of water, naturally occurring, flowing bodies of water. Then we have the word b'mayim again in the pasuk. Any body of water. So it's a klal, a general descriptive term. All types of waters, even a cistern, Then we have specifics, bayamim, b'nacholim, indicating only within those bodies of water require kosher signs. Then we have b'mayim again. So we have klal, a general term, bayam b'nacholim, which is a specific, limiting term, b'mayim, which is another general term. And we're going to see how that works out later. It becomes a klal prato klal, which tells us exactly which bodies of water require kosher signs, which creatures within the bodies of water require kosher signs, and we'll see that later. Then we have the pasuk, which looks at the other side of the equation, on the negative side. V'chol she'ein lo, v'chol asher ein lo stam v'kaskeses b'mayim u'banacholim mikol sheretz hamayim u'mikol nefesh hachaya asher b'mayim sheketzem lachem. It's off limits. So fish without kosher signs that are swimming in the yamim and the nacholim, sheketzem lachem, they're off limits for you. Now, as we're going to see in the upcoming discussion, there are basically 4 categories of different types of waters. Let's call it 1, 2, 3, and 4. One would be the yam, the nachalim, the seas, the lakes, the rivers, naturally occurring, flowing bodies of water connected to the world, global ecosystem, the global water supply. Those certainly need snapper v'kaskeses. On the other side of the spectrum, let's call it number 4, we have kalim, water contained in a kli, in a pitcher, in your own house. Any insect that develops in that kli from within, meaning it wasn't imported from outside, but it sort of developed in the kli itself, is okay to be drunk with the water, as part of the water, sort of. You can drink it together with the water, no issue. And that will be learned from a pasuk, that the kosher sign requirement does not apply to water in a kli. Okay, so level 1 is the yamim and nachalim. Certainly they require kosher signs. On the other side we have level 4, the kli certainly does not. What about level 2 and level 3? Level 2 would be like a man-made canal which draws water, which is connected to the world ecosystem, but it's not a natural body of water. As we're going to see, it's connected to the world water supply, is treated accordingly, and it needs kosher signs. On the other hand, we have level 3, which is more comparable to a kli, like a bar, a self-contained, still water supply, like a cistern in the ground, not connected to any body of water. That is comparable to a kli, in which case an insect that developed inside that water is permissible. So this is the objective, this is the finish line. But to get there, we'll have a long journey. Here goes. Tana Rabban. We learned in a brayso. Once the pasuk states it in the positive, you may consume fish with kosher signs. And again, the kosher signs are the snapper v'kaskeses, right? The fins and the scales. So once I know that, Shamiani, I will infer on my own. I can conclude that otherwise, don't eat it. Al taychal, do not eat es she'en lo, the ones that don't have. And likewise, umimashma shenemar al taychal es she'en lo. Once the Torah expresses it in the negative, do not eat those that do not have kosher signs. Shamiani, I will conclude on my own. Echol es she'esh lo, do eat the ones with kosher signs. So why did the Torah repeat itself? You may eat the ones that do, you should not eat the ones that don't. Once it says, eat only the ones that do, that gives us room for a diuk. It's called a lav haba mechlal aseh. It's a negative which is derived from a positive. Only eat the ones that do have signs as opposed to the other ones. So why repeat yourself and explicitly state that you cannot eat those that don't? Laver olav baseh, let's say, to pile on more transgressions. One consumes non-kosher fish. He has violated the outright, explicit violation of do not, and also he has violated the do. Do eat only those that are kosher as opposed to those. So that's considered a double violation. Okay, now let's go back and analyze that pasuk. So the first is the sort of positive pasuk. Do eat. Toichlu mikol hashabamayim. And the question is, why? Why does the pasuk have to express toichlu, which seems to be repetitive? Once the pasuk will conclude for us with the words oisam teichelu, do eat these. So why start with teichelu? Why the repetition? Toichelu mikol hashabamayim. Matamulim. What's the point of this extra expression? The answer is to allow consumption of fish creatures that were discovered in level 3. That's the self-contained cistern, even without kosher signs. That's going to be a lesson in this word, in this phrase. What's the point? Because I would think, once the Torah allows what? Allows those in containers. And by the way, when we refer to allowing those in, we're talking about sea creatures like fish or insects that are lacking the kosher signs, just to be clear for the whole sugya, right? We're allowing even without kosher signs. Okay? We have a pasuk. And soon the Gemara will explain exactly what the Gemara meant here, b'mefurash, in a clear fashion. So, in one instance, the Torah clearly allows those in Kalim. And then in another instance, the Torah allows it, but not as explicit. So, basically, one is the pasuk tes, one is pasuk yud. In one place, and the Gemara later will discuss which one is clear, which one is not as clear, which one is more explicit, which one is more sort of obscure. But in any case, we have an indication in both psukim to allow something, even without kosher signs. Hitter b'mefurash, it allows it once explicitly. Hitter b'stam, in one instance, it allows it more or less, not as clear. Just like the explicit permission is only for those in actual kalim, level 4. Likewise, the Torah permits it in a less than explicit fashion. It's only allowed if it's an actual kli, level 4. What about level 3? What about the content of boiros? Self-contained, still water cisterns, which are a different configuration of pits, right? And he can bend down, drink straight out of it, without hesitation of encountering any insects. Is that okay? Yes. Comes this extra expression, teichlu, which we revealed as an extra expression. Teichlu, mikol hashabamayim. That's allowing even level 3. So at this point we know level 1 is yamim and achalim. There it's asr, without kosher signs. Level 4 are kalim, that's mutar. And even level 3. self-contained in-ground water supplies is okay. Now, heichan hitter b'kelim. How do you even know that level 4 is okay? A kli content is okay. The chsiv. Take a look at the pasuk, which specifies only natural bodies of water. The kosher sign requirement is only for those found in mayim. What type of mayim? The pasuk explains itself. Bayamim b'necholim. Seas, rivers, streams. Only in those bodies of water when you only eat creatures which exhibit kosher signs. The less labor without kosher signs, loy seichel, you don't eat it. But, however, if it's in a kli, level 4, avagav the less leichel, even without kosher signs, they're okay. So kli is certainly different. But one second, who says it's different in a positive sense? Maybe it's even worse. Maybe. If it's in a kli, kosher signs won't even help you. But perhaps I can suggest just the opposite. Bekelu. I understand the kli is different than a stream. But in which direction? Perhaps I can say in a kli, you can't even eat it with kosher signs. Kosher signs are only helpful if it's in the yam and the nechalim, but not in the kli. Says the Gemara, no, you can't suggest that. You can't have that notion. For that we go to the next pasuk, which is the sort of negative pasuk, which will also teach us the same point, in a very clear fashion. It's a creature which is found in the yam and nechalim, which is lacking kosher signs, is off limits. We infer that if it's in a kli, it does not require kosher signs. But yam, b'nechalim, only in the seas and the rivers, the last you can't eat it if it doesn't have kosher signs. However, in a kli, be my guest, avagav the last even if it has no kosher signs, echol, you can eat it. So here it's pretty clear, without room for any ambiguity. So at the end of the day, what do we have? So far we have level 1, which is yamim and nechalim, they require kosher signs. Level 4 are the klelim, do not require kosher signs. It's based on a sort of a combo drasha, combo source, combining both psukim, with a similar inference derived from both, that a kli is okay. What about the boiros, sichnam aras, which are level 3, self-contained still water collections? They're like the kalim. And no kosher signs are needed in those as well. Asks the Gemara, why do we need a special pasuk, a special source, to allow the content of a boir? We can simply look at the actual pasuk itself, and we'll see that the pasuk is broadcasting to us this very halacha, just from the wording of the pasuk. Because if we look at the pasuk, we see it begins with mikol asher b'mayim, anything in water, any water. But then it specifies bayamim b'nechalim. What type of waters? Naturally occurring, flowing bodies of water. They require, but not a boir. Why can't we just simply say baymayim is a klal, a general descriptive term referring to any type of body of water. But then we have specific references to specific types of waters. Bayamim b'nechalim. That's a prat. It's a limiting term. In which case we have a klal, followed by a prat. And what happens then? It constricts it, it limits it. Ein b'chlal, el mashu prat. The klal only applies to something which is described in the prat, which means that the kosher sign requirement is limited to yamim and nechalim. Yamim and nechalim, yeah, they require kosher signs, but neitzin v'charitzin loy. Even neitzin v'charitzin, listen to this. This is level 2, like these canals. Neitzin are the long, narrow canals. Charitzin are the wider canals, which are drawing from and connected to the rivers and the global, ecosystem. Perhaps that's also exempt. Neitzin v'charitzin loy. And certainly, a boir, which is level 3, Says the Gemara, hold it, because it doesn't really end there. B'mayim. Remember the pasuk repeats the word b'mayim again. Chaza v'kala. It's back to general. Okay, so it expands it, broadens it. Clearly, it's not limited to just the actual rivers and the seas. Says the Gemara, hold it. Hani trei klali desmichel adadininu. In terms of the wording, the order of the pasuk, the two words that you're alleging to be klalim are not situated the way typically a klal prat klal is situated. Usually it's general, specific, and general. Here it's ezetechlu mikol shebamayim. Bamayim is your klal, and then again klal sheloisam is bamayim. So it's klal, and then it's bayam banachalim, which is your prat. How does that turn into a klal prat klal? It does. Amar Avina, Kedam Rava. As they said in Eretz Yisrael, this too qualifies. Wherever you locate two generalities situated next to each other in this type of configuration, we turn to the next page. Hatal prat b'neim. You can relocate, transplant the prat, which is the yamim and achalim, insert the prat in between, so to speak, in between the two klals, and you can now apply it as a bichlal or pratu klal. Okay, so if that's the case, it won't be as limited as you thought. It's actually going to get pretty broad. Why? So the word bamayim, the first one, is a klal, denoting any water. Then we have bayam and chalam, rivers, streams, that's a prat. Okay. Then we have bamayim, chazav v'kala. Once again, it generalized it for us. It broadened it for us to tell you that any body of water which is somewhat similar to that example would be included. Klal or prat or klal. What happens now? You have to done prat. You apply it based on the similarity to the prat, which is yamim and achalim. And guess what? It would even include level 3, because what defines the yam and the nachal? Ma prat mefurish. What's a good way to describe the yam and achalim? Ma'im noivim. It's flowing water. Afkol ma'im noivim. Likewise, any flowing water is included. My Rabbi. So what is going to be covered by this new formula? Not just the actual river and the stream, even the charitzim and the itzim, those man-made canals which are connected and are flowing from, they're drawing from the river, it's also included, l'isura. It also has the isra, meaning it requires kosher signs. What are we excluding from this requirement? Bereshich and amaris, which are the actual self-contained in-ground bodies of water, cisterns of all their variations. Latera, that's okay without kosher signs. So at this stage, level 1, which are the yamim, need kosher signs. Level 2, which are the charitzin, need kosher signs. Level 3, which are the bayrais, no need for kosher signs, and certainly the kli. Ask the Gemara, it's not so simple. Who says to exclude level 3? Ve'ema, we can apply the formula a bit differently. You see, you're conceding that it's not limited to yamim and achalim. That's by nature, that's how klal prat klal works. It's expansive. It will cover anything that's similar. A boyer is also similar in some way to a yam. It's an in-ground body of water, right? I mean, why not include him as well? We can say ma prat mafurish ma'im gedelan al gabi karka. What defines the prat, the yam, the nachal? What defines it? It's water, gathered on the ground. Perhaps we'll include even the gathering of water in the pit as well. Water situated in the ground of all types and stripes is included. Umay Rabbi, and what will be included now? Afilu bayres, shichin amaris liisur. Even they require kosher signs. Now something has to be excluded. After all, that's the message of the klal prato klal. You have to be similar, and something which is dissimilar is excluded. Okay, we'll have to exclude something. Let's exclude only the most extreme of our examples, level 4. Umay miyad. What got excluded? Miyad kalim. Water in a kli, level 4, but not level 3, not a bar. Says the Gemara, you're right. But if that were to be so, if that were true, let's remember we had that extra pasuk all the way in the beginning of our discussion, right? We had the word teichlu, which was superfluous. Which is telling us that there's something more than meets the eye. There's something extra that's excluded as well. What's the purpose? What will be the accomplishment of the word teichlu? Even without teichlu, I would exempt kalim from this requirement. Teichlu comes and says, no, we'll drop down one more level. So level 3 is also going to be exempted through the klal prato klal. Okay, so that's the first approach in the Gemara. Very clear. We have 4 levels, different types of bodies of water. We have level 1, which are the yamim and the cholim, the actual rivers, the actual seas, the lakes, the rivers, streams. They require snaver kaskasas. Likewise, charitzin and neitzin, which are man-made, but they're connected. They relate to the world, ecosystem. On the other end, we have the boires, shichin amaris, which are contained still collections of water. So despite them being in the ground, they're exempt, and certainly the kalim. And regarding the source of kalim, we have both psukim actually, the positive pasuk and the negative pasuk, both indicating to us that kalim are mutter. Each pasuk, in its own way, and we'll clarify that a bit later again. Continues the Gemara. Devei Rabbi Shmuel Tana. However, in the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Shmuel, they presented this discussion a bit differently. A bit of a different type of formula, but ultimately, at least according to Rashi's understanding of the Gemara, we achieve the same results, we get to the same destination. B'mayim. Right? So the pasuk mentions b'mayim twice. Shtei pamim. Ein ze b'klal prat. Instead of using it to formulate a klal prat, which typically actually gets you a more narrow formula of criteria, elariba umiyet. Rather, it's a slightly different type of formula. It's riba, miyet. Riba means we cover pretty much everything. Miyet is okay, leave something out. Not all bodies of water need the kosher signs. Followed by another mentioning of Bamayim, which again is riba, expansive, which would yield the following formula. Riba, umiyet v'riba. It includes, it excludes, and it includes. Riba haka, pretty much everything is included. My Rabbi, so what are we trying to include? Level 2. Charitzin, unitzin, lisura. The canals are asur as well. Umaymiyat, but something has to be pushed out. You have to exempt something. Boirois, shichan amaris latera. We're excluding the pits, man-made pits. Level 3. So as the word ema, my riba, boirois, shichan amaris lisura. Who says perhaps we should include level 3 and require kosher signs, and only exempt level 4? Umay miyet kalim, only exclude the kalim, level 4, and kain, toichlu maharile. Okay, same answer as before, because we have that word toichlu, which is extra. In that first pasuk, what's the purpose? What's the message? Apparently, to allow even level 3. Says the Gemara, okay, so you have to include something, exclude something. Who's to say to include level 2 and exclude level 3? Perhaps the other way around. The answer is because the Tani Matasya, as Matasya presented, the Tani Matasya Bar Yehuda. He presented the following explanation. Who's to say to allow level 3 and allow it without kosher signs, and to consider level 2 as asr? The answer is very simple. Because what's most similar to level 1? Level 2, right? Marbani, Boris, Shichan Amoris, Shenatsurin Kikelim. Shenatsurim Kikelim. The reason why I include, meaning I allow, level 3, because the content, the still water content of a bar is very similar. It's contained. It's still just like the water in a container. It's like level 4. So since it's more comparable to level 4, we assume he's treated accordingly. As opposed to level 2, I'll exclude from the permissibility the charitza and neats in the canals, which are not contained and still confined bodies of water similar to the content of a kli. Rather, they are more similar to the free-flowing natural bodies of water out there, and therefore they're regarded as such. Okay, so ultimately, according to Rashi, we achieve the same result. Level 1 is asr, level 4 is mutter, level 2 is like level 1, level 3 is like level 4. Okay, one more last point to clarify. So, way back we discussed the source of the heter of kalim. We have the two psukim. The positive pasuk, which says you can only eat, right? Those are kosher signs, provided they're in the yamim and a cholam, but something in a kli is exempt from this requirement. Then we have the negative pasuk: do not eat those that are lacking kosher signs, provided they're growing in the yamim and a cholam, indicating that if they're in a kli, they're okay without kosher signs. Now, the Gemara referred to one pasuk as the more explicit one, and the other one as the less explicit one. Which one is what? We have another machlekes on that. Hai sasam, which one is the less explicit? By mefurish, which one is the more clear? Pligavot, there was machlekes between Racha Ravina in this manner. Chadamar, one says yeshlei, the positive pasuk, the yeshlei, is the one that's clear mefurish. Ve'enloi, the negative one, is the sasam. And the other one says the other way around. Chadamar einloi mefurish. The second pasuk is mefurish, is more explicit in terms of allowing the content of a kli without kosher signs. V'yeshlei, in the first pasuk, the positive one, is the one that's less clear, is sus. Why? What's the basis of this disagreement? My time adamando amar yeshlei mefurish. Why would you say that the first pasuk is more clear? Amalach, he says, because minei, based on the wording of that pasuk, hu dekam mishtru kalim, we're allowing the content of a kli. The pasuk says, "Oy samtoi chelu," right? Only those growing in the yamim and the cholam require kosher signs, but in the kli, it doesn't need it. So it's pretty clear. So that's called mefurish. Rashi explains, as opposed to the second pasuk, although it's inferring to us the same point, but it's not as clear, because in the second pasuk, it says, do not eat, right? Those that are lacking. But it says it near the words, umukol nefesh hachaya asher b'mayim. There it says, sheket hem lechem, do not eat. It doesn't refer to refraining from eating right next to the words yamim and achalim, which indicates that kalim are exempt. It's not it's not as direct, as clear as the first pasuk where it says the words oisam techelu, you should eat only with kosher signs, right next to the words yamim and achalim, which indicate kalim are exempt. In the second pasuk, it's not as clear. Okay. What about the other opinion? My time at the Omar Ein Mefurish. Why does the opposing view hold that the second pasuk is more clear in terms of generating the permissibility of kalim? He says, the hayu de kamoicha chahaich. And by the way, Rashi says also that the second pasuk will exempt kalim based on a klal prato klal. It's a drasha. Again, it's not as clear as the first pasuk. Okay, fine. Now, what about the opposing view? Why does he consider the second pasuk to be more clear? The hayu de kamoichach, because it's only due to the second pasuk that you understand the first pasuk. The kamoichach, it reveals to us regarding the true meaning of the first pasuk. Why? Because if only from that first pasuk. I would say, yeah, kalim are treated differently than yamim and cholim. That's pretty clear. In what regard? Maybe in a negative regard, like we suggested earlier. Kalim are different, set apart from yamim, but maybe to say that kosher science won't help you in a kli. So if it's growing in a kli, it's not its natural habit. Kosher science won't really help you. It'll be usher even with kosher science. I would think the kalim, something growing in a kli, afag of the islay. Even if the creature has kosher science, nami loy seichel, even then you can't eat it. Comes the second pasuk and says, no. That's the negative pasuk, which says, do not eat. Do not eat only those who do not have kosher signs, provided they grow in yamim and achalim. But otherwise, they grow in a kli, you don't need non-kosher signs. So that's more of a clear-cut resolution on this issue, which reveals to us what the first pasuk had in mind as well. You may only eat with kosher signs, provided they're in yamim and achalim, but if they're in a kli, don't need kosher signs. Okay. So what did we learn today? Discussed the fish sugya. Dogim needs snapper because keses, and we learned that as long as it's the type, it's the variety, even if it comes later, it's okay. Likewise, if it's here now and it sheds it on its way out of the water, it's also fine. We learned that once you have kaskeses, automatically you're known to have a snapper as well. Yagl teir yadu is why we discuss it. Violation of eating fish without fins and scale is a double transgression. And Asay and Alaysa say we have the four categories of bodies of water. Yamim and Cholim require, so do the Charitzin and the Itzim, which are connected to them, as opposed to the Kalim and the Boyer Sichen Ma'ares, which are self-contained still bodies of water. The creatures within them are mutar, even without presenting kosher signs, which we will Be'ez Hashem continue in tomorrow's discussion. All the best to you, and Atzlach.